mycket av den där. Nu sitter jag där nere, men det faktiskt fick det på avstånd.
Men det är inte det precis jag går för som
Välkommen, welcome, Croeso. Welcome to the final closing event of Tronos at the Fringe 2021. This is Pilsnerpoesi. It's been a long time since I've been in Pilsnerpoesi in Sweden. I have been joining Pilsnerpoesi, but I've been joining it from Wales. I've been in Kuru. The Pilsnerpoesi brand was named after the original Poems and Pints model. Poems and Pints has merged into Cerddi and Kuru, which is Welsh for poems in beer. And it's in beer because this is Kuru. It's the name of the venue. This is the greatest community arts hub in West Wales, okay? So if ever you get to Carmarthen, make sure you visit Kuru. That's where it's all happening. There isn't anybody there today. There is some people in Wales. There are some people in Colombia. There are some people in Greece, all who are going to join us tonight. But we're going to start here in the room because this is where the real people are. And you can interpret that however you wish to. But I'm going to start with a real man. I'm going to ask Magnus Lindgren to come to the stage and read something for us. Magnus, just to let you know, out there in Zoomland, as he's making his way to the stage, was learning traditional Welsh strict meter poetry this afternoon.
Tack så mycket. Av alldeles uppenbara skäl så är det är ganska länge sedan jag läste poesi inför publik. Det har ju varit en pandemi och den har ju påverkat oss alla. Så att bland annat då min poesiläsning inför publik, den har varit försvinnande liten under de senaste 1,5 åren, eller obefintlig snarare. Jag kommer med en ny diktsamling den 22 november kommer den släppas. Så det är dessutom premiär för att läsa ur den. Och den har väl tillkommit till stor del under pandemin och dessutom också komponerats samman under pandemin och präglas väl möjligen av en viss långsamhet. Jag läser den inledande texten Rundor och vändningar. Ett tunt snötäcke har fallit under natten över gårdagens våta marker och sliriga grusvägar. Så småningom är det dags för en söndagspromenad i landskap. Är av någon anledning särskilt förtjust i rundor. Att börja och sluta på samma plats går alldeles utmärkt. Men att vända om och följa sina egna fotspår tillbaka samma väg som man nyss kommit är jag inte alls lika road av. Möjligen har det något med själva omvändandet att göra. Särskilt om det sker mitt på stigen. Det känns då något bättre att komma fram till något. Kanske till en sjö eller upp på toppen av ett berg. Att vandra utan mål är svårare. Men ibland kan man behöva stålsätta sig. Nya delmål kan visa sig ut efter vägen. Och man kan göra plötsliga avstickare från det förväntade och det i förväg utstakade. Man kan överraska sig. Sånt händer. Det kan vara mödan värt. Sen är jag ju väldigt förtjust i mycket av det som Thomas Tranströmer har skrivit. Och ni känner säkert till haiku. Se hur jag sitter som en uppdragen eka. Här är jag lycklig. Och det kunde jag inte låta bli att inte använda mig av i dikten Moderna människor. En gång som en uppdragen eka. Numera bottenlös. En mörk kontur för förbipasserande. Många med långa mil i benen. Fluorescerande funktionsmaterial. Prestationshöjande proteintillskott. Enstaka. Undrar om vi lyckades ro någonting i land. Någonsin. Varför? Vi ser deras spelande benmuskler. Hör en ofantlig ansträngning flåsa.
Magnus. Yeah, Magnus was part of our guerrilla poetry this morning. We wrote some poems in the library, and then we were out there as part of the Pride Parade with Magnus's megaphone, giving it our poems. So it was great to hear him there, and great to hear him here this evening as well. Some people, the pandemic was strange for many creative people. Some people just couldn't do anything during the pandemic. Obviously for Magnus, it was a very creative time, and it was enabled him to write some new stuff. So thank you for sharing that. Right, I'm going to go to Zoomland now. I think I'm going to go. Yes, go on. I'm feeling a bit homesick. Let's go to Wales. Mel, would you like to unmute yourself and do something for us, please?
Yeah, thank you, Dominic. Well, you're wearing your Cwrw t-shirt in Tronos, and I'm wearing my. I'm wearing my Cultivera t-shirt in Wales. Thanks very much for putting me on early, Dom. I'm going out for a birthday meal afterwards, so I can't stay for the whole evening, but can stay for a bit and look forward to the recordings. So I'm going to read an ekphrastic poem written in response to one of the films at the film festival this year. And thanks very much to Laura for including me and sending me the film. And the film that I was sent was We Are Without by S.J. Ramir. And my poem, the poem that I created from that film, commemorates the 116 children who died in the Aberfan disaster of 1966, and their anniversary was on October the 21st, so it fell in the week. And in the poem, I used the Welsh for the Welsh name for Daisy. These 55 years. Pulse, petals, pulse. Don't fade as you drop into the gloom of a deep shaft. Look up, llygadadees. Keep your faces open to the light, however small a speck it may become. Incessant October rain, fog, just like that day. And the fog that hung in the valley then still spreads, seeps, seeps in my mind's ear, where I hear again the silence of void, a newly dug tunnel, once sweet cold air. A cavern, open, wide as a warning yell, a seam, shining, glinting, winking, whispering duplicity. A silence that tolls, a reverberation of iron on iron, iron in coal, coal in soul. My vision varies now, floaters in motes and threads, and a cataract forming, but I still see that stone farm across the valley, like Tirisha, shoved, engulfed, a telegraph pole, its cables too, muffled, blotted, submerged from view. As I try to soften my scratching gaze, it travels over ground, flickers across bracken and moorgrass that part to show the faces of children, their gap-toothed smiles, sun-blinking eyes, freckled faces, straight chopped fringes. Those still hold clear these 55 years. Everyone came to dig that day, to scrabble with fingers, hands and shovels, to cup slag in palms and fill sacks, buckets, bins, lorries, to pick through liquid dust, fluid solids, lump and scum, halted spilth, to pick and scoop, pick and scoop, pick and prize the roots of flowers whose growth, like time, had stopped, lay still. Pulse, petals, pulse. Through years of lies, deceit, betrayal, we are with you. Pulse, petals, pulse. Don't fade as you drop into the gloom of a deep shaft. Look up, llygadadees. Keep your faces open to the light, however small a speck it becomes. Pulse, petals, pulse. Pulse, petals. Pulse, pulse. Diolch yn fawr.
Well, you wouldn't believe how appropriate that was following a performance that I just did with Stina, talking about that new life coming out of death and the growth that comes from trees, from plants, from flowers. But the line that really struck with me was the duplicitousness of that seam of coal, of what it did geologically to that community, but also the duplicitousness of the National Coal Board. Yeah, it was a terrible tragedy, and a wonderful way to remember those young people now. Okay. I'm going to come back in the room now, and I'm going to get my Magnuses out of the way, because otherwise I'll be looking at my list and thinking I've still got Magnus lingering on the list. So I'm going to ask Magnus Green to come up and do something for us, please.
Jeanne d'Arc bor i Malmö. Jeanne d'Arc bor i Malmö på pastorsexpeditionen, säger en skäggig man med vilda och öron. Hon färdas genom tid och rymd och tröttnat på 1400-talet. Han är på Ica Maxi, köper blommor på Gustav Adolfs torg. Och inte längre bara ett franskt nationalhelgon. Vill hänga på Mikes bar, spela biljard och slänga bort sin jungfrudom till första bästa. Lenin åkte förbi Tranås 13 april 1917. Lenin vaknade till, tittade ut genom fönstret, bokstaverar Tranås möbelkompani AB slumrar till och dagdrömmer om mat och Nessa Armes. Siktlinjen. Muskelminnes, neuromuskulära system, ungdomens bågskytte, pilens siktlinje. Instängdhetens viss, dystopiska fiskars gränsande fjäll, barock, trädgårdens siktlinje. Bankarens dimmiga penningtvättare, de grå eminensernas ljusskygga maktfullkomlighet, kulan själv, ballistisk siktlinje. Och den sista, vinylomslagsförnimmelse. Record Store Day 2020, Joy Division. Näsan i konvolutet, kallt krig, angst, hjärta och själ, producerar unga sinne. Byt musik, den gör mig nervös, säger man. Mörkt rum, stearinljus, känsla av andakt, Ian Curtis, död för livet. Tack.
Tack, Magnus. A lovely little set. Some of my favourites in there. Joan in Malmö. Siktlinje, you know, is always, I love that word, siktlinje. We were talking about this today, about how Swedish words are much, much bigger than English words because we split everything up, line of sight. Siktlinje is a beautiful word. And Magnus was a champion archer. I don't know if you all knew that. So the muscle memory is there in his line of sight. Okay, let's go back to Zoomland to one of our guests from the furthest south, I believe. I hope she's with us because I know Meher was going to read this evening, and it must be approaching midnight there in India. So Meher, would you like to unmute yourself and read something for us, please?
Thanks, Dominic. It's great to be here. And well, just earlier this evening, I was with a group from Nepal who had organized a poetry festival on multiculturalism. And this is a poem I read over there. I've taken two images which are very disparate visually, a flower and a mountain. And I've tried to show the unity between them as there are between diverse people all over the world. A flower is distinct from a mountain, but the same sun warms both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, the same wind whips both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, the same earth molds both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, but the same shower soaks both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, but both beautify our earth. Flowers are distinct from, mountains are distinct from flowers, scaling heights beyond compare. Flowers are distinct from mountains, filling fragrances in the air. Mountains are distinct from flowers, unchanged by rain or wind. Flowers sparkle myriad colors, weeks after they fade. Mountains are carpeted green and brown, flowers sprout red, white, yellow. Together, they create a landscape rich in reflecting nature's glows. Thank you.
Meher, and thank you for your poem, and thank you for your respect for our 3-minute rule that we felt we had to impose this evening, which I know I included in the email that I sent to everyone. because we do have a lot of readers, both here in the room and out there on Zoom. So we want to give everybody's voice a chance to be heard. Again, your poem has relevance for me today, because today was Pride here in Tronos. And there's just that one line that I felt held some real value when you spoke about the flower and the mountain both being whipped by the wind, because it wasn't all positive experiences. Life is not full of beauty. In its diversity, there are challenges as well. And it was something that we were celebrating in our poetry today, saying, yes, the war is not yet won. Diversity is very important, but we have to keep fighting. And there are bad experiences that we all share, as well as beautiful and good experiences. I'm going to stay there in Zoomland. It's so easy to just go from one country to another. Is there anybody there in Puerto Rico? Antonio, brother, are you there? Okay, then let's stick with the Americas. Colombia, George, are you there? Right. Okay. The land of my birth. Mr. Trahan, Steve the Shredder, you were there in Wales.
I'm here. I know. Can you all hear me there? Yeah? Yeah, great. I can't wait to come over to Sweden. First of all, to try the beer. Try the punk, because I want to scream my lungs out. And I'll also bring Steve the Shredder with me at the same time. So thank you, Sweden, for holding such a lovely festival. I've seen most of it online, and it was fantastic. And hopefully I'll be there in July next year. So thank you for the fantastic performance that everybody's put on. So thank you all. Yeah, the poem I'm going to read now is called High Street Blues. And I was writing this today at some point. It's about the communities and the town centres that have been hit hard over the last couple of years, especially when COVID came in. It's still a trial and error poem, so there's still some work to be done on it. But yeah, and it goes like this. High Street Blues. A thriving street of posh shops and top-notch have been hit hard this year. All the local characters have disappeared. No chit-chat about this and that. No singing Canon Lan on match day. No cowl with bread and cheese. All the pubs are closing, replaced by Indian and Chinese. They knocked the old town centre down, destroying the local history. They built another supermarket, more concrete and misery. Chain shops moved in, killing the high street with goods made in China. The old tea shop already gone, replaced by the American diner. The local authority says change is good for business. All the boutique shops gone, have all packed up, and they call this bloody progress. COVID moved in and the top brands were holding on. The economy was fragile. Even some department stores have gone. A glimmer of hope is still alive in the old cobble square. Empty spaces now occupied with gourmet food and flair. New bars are moved in with real guest deals on the menu. Rugby on the big screen and England get thrashed by Wales. Let's support our local community. Fuck the online shopping and say no to scrutiny. Thank you.
Great use, Steve, of memory and imagination, because yeah, it might be imagination if Wales is going to be England this year. It's going to be a tough one. But yeah, a lovely tribute to Kamar then. Let's hope that was one of the good things from pandemic, that it halted the process of gentrification. That would be a bonus. There's a corner of Stuttgarten that has been bitten away. A soul of Tronas has been bitten away by coffee espresso, some corporate, soulless, faceless company that just appears in every city in Sweden, every city all over the world. You know, there's a part of Trona's character that's been taken away, a corner that's been taken. So let's stop the bastards coming in anyway. Okay, right. Meanwhile, let's get back to the room. I think it's only fair that a poet should be allowed to read her own poem without somebody screaming in her ear. So I'd like Rosemary to come up and read something for us, please.
Tack till arrangörerna som fixar och ordnar med detta fantastiska Tranås at the Fringe. Jag ska berätta om några tillfälliga grannar jag fick i somras som bodde på hustaket mitt emot där jag bor. Det visade sig att de hade ganska mycket att säga och detta ska jag nu förmedla till er. Det är alltid fredag i måsarnas värld. Först och främst, om du ser en godbit, störtdyk, hugg den i ett nafs. Ja, vadå? Och så strupen, ljuda över nejden. Alltså strupljudet, ta i från tårna. Vi jagar upp varandra. Till slut skriker alla. Feta fjädrar. Det är fett nice när det regnar. Då spatserar vi, spanar, scenmediterar, blinkar med ena ögat. Vätan från näbbarna slickar grässtråna i sig. De böjer sig hit, de böjer sig dit. Vi böjer nacken och näbbar bröstet vitt. Vi är så vackra. Kaka söker maka. Lika som bär. Tillsammans är vi oslagbara. Warriors. Vårt röda hustak. Vårt alfa paradis. Ur ägget kom en ödla. Kan nätt och jämnt balansera huvudet. Det fjäderlösa, lena, blicken bottenlös. Ynkliga, skrynkliga. Bara en mor och far kan älska dessa näbbnissar. När de andra kommer svepande, mörka vingar, snålvatten droppande näbbar, miss i nassen, sugna på vickning. Då ger jag mitt liv för er. Barnen, det har väl inte hänt något med barnen? Fattas någon? Där kutar de. Där kurar de. Nästan fullstora nu. Välgödda barn. Fladdrande flamenco. Vingspetsarna mot nymånen. Fötterna på plåttaket. Himlen. Bara ett steg bort. Barnet flyger högt. 3D. Knata, knata, knata. Guppa, guppa, guppa. Sväva, sväva, sväva. Högt uppe hos andre piloten pickar ett hjärta. 4 kamrar av guld. På marken seglar en flyktig skugga. Vi samlar inget. Vi har allt. Vi är alltid utomhus. Så lustfyllt lätt. När man har ett skelett som är lätt. Fyllt med luft. Ihåligt. Vingen är lätt. Perfekt för flykt. Testa. Det är så lätt. Lyft, lätta, lätta. Skönast är att bara cirkla. Tack så mycket.
Thank you, Rosemary, for your generosity towards the international audience here and your flamenco signs that sort of could explain everything to me so perfectly. You both, I guess you live in the same home, you have those sounds, you both create those soundscapes, you know. Sound is so important, and the changing in your voices, particularly in the first poem you read, the change in voice and the narrative is just it's beautiful. It just carries you along. And I don't speak Swedish, but I think there was some sense in there of the questions that Louise and Henneke asked earlier on about choosing our own path and making our own choices about what we do in life. So, talking of Henneke, I think I might like to invite him up here to perform a poem for us. Oh, he's looking unsure about that. Good man. I'll do it then.
Right to I don't have to hold it. I've sworn not to hold a paper when I'm reading. It's called The Last Supper, and it's about us being eaten when we die by bacteria and microbes and somethings. But it's in Swedish. Den sista måltiden. Bakterier och mikrob jobbar flitigt. De tänker sända dig på långsemester ned i en grav. Där luften kan bli lite kvav. Efter ett antal solvarv blir det kvällsmat åt en fluglarv. Visserligen arbetar de så där långsamt, larver och bakterier. Men de bryr sig inte om högtidsdagar eller ferier. De uppnår alltid sina mål. I marken grävs ännu ett hål. Eller så hamnar du i en ugn, men då kan du vara alldeles lugn. I en urna kan kroppen inte surna. Och simsalabim, dina räkningar tas bort i en märklig digital abort. Kommer de människorna minnas den som var du? Du kunde nog lika gärna varit en ko som inte längre kan säga mu. Och ändå doftar ju kvällsbrisen som om något av oss lever kvar. Någonting som vi tjockhudingar glömt bort vad det var. Tack. Tack för det.
Tack. And it's always going to be an installation, isn't it? You know, when it comes to performance artists, even if it's balancing the sheet of paper on the edge of the microphone stand. Thank you so much for the introduction. Again, allowed me to understand. But I loved, I love the questioning tone that was in there as well, because it's something that's unknown, isn't it? You know, and then that going in there. So, tack. I'm going to stay in the room now because because the camera is already on me. It will relieve the pressure on my colleague who's working the tech desk tonight, because I know she has a poem to read. So I want to remove all the pressure that I put upon her and allow her to come up and share her work with us now while I just stick my finger on the computer. Ledare.
Tack så mycket. Jag tänkte läsa 3 stycken dikter, lite blandat. Den första är en hommage till Karin Boye, som är en av mina favoritpoeter. Ja, visst gör det ont när knopparna brister. Och visst gör det ont när knoppar blir löv. Och visst gör det ont när löven faller, sakta ner och dör. Hela livet är fyllt av smärta, utan något att göra åt. För efter varje kylig vinter så kommer nästa vår. The next one is in English for the international audience. I can't take it. I'm not gonna make it. I'm a ticking bomb and I'm gonna explode. Everything depends on me, but I'm not strong enough. What should I do? Wait for an early death? Wait for new medication, a new diagnosis? More conversation with people that tell me things I already know. I should just give up, but I'm not selfish enough to do it. So I'm stuck in limbo, waiting to walk to one of the sides. Either one, it doesn't matter. Jag vill tillägna 10-åriga Moe som jag läste upp den här för. Han tyckte den var ganska rolig. Så han gav mig modet och kör den här ikväll. Mögliga solskydd mot klassrummets fönster. Eleverna går sin rytm. Allt i samma mönster. Plötsligt en smäll och glassplitter på marken. Jag reser mig upp och blickar ut mot parken. Där står Sten Sture i full hals. Han gapar och skriker om ingenting alls. Kapitalismen åt helvete och byråkrater är svin, skriker han genial. Och barnen tjuter av grin. De tycker han är gal. Där står han med naken bad och dansar i mången minusgrad. Blott iklädd morgonrock och slips delar han med sig med livets bästa tips. Han skriker på den stiliga mannen från Neapel. Hur skulle han kunna veta att det var här poliskonstapel? Tack så mycket.
Tack, Hedda. It was lovely watching you. Brilliant performance, dynamic, articulate performances. And isn't it amazing how people who write in 2 languages sing different songs in different languages? I don't just mean the tone. Obviously, the English language poem was, you know, more downbeat. But I just mean the use of the language. It's you sing different songs, and of course, the English language poem is great. You know, to sit in the warmth of the dawn and look in the shadows and know that it's okay. Soon the sun will be high and those shadows will be gone. Even if we're not already in the sunshine, just waiting for those shadows to go. Thank you, Hedda. I'm going to go back to Zoomland. I'm going to try once more to go to Puerto Rico. Antonio, are you with us, brother? It's very quiet. Okay, in that case, I'm totally confused because I've lost my list. I have no idea who's on the list, but I'm going to try Canada. Let's go to Canada. Calvin, would you like to unmute and read something for us, please?
Okay, thank you. Well, it's a pleasure and an honor, as usual, to be part of this festival. So I'm going to read 2 short poems that sort of acknowledge the change of the season and also just the kind of the great things that the natural world offers us right now. The first one's called Tree Light Dialect. If you sit here, you might see how trees transform light, how light changes trees if you walk a path of stippled space between cedar, hemlock, Douglas fir. You may feel light, your thoughts rising into a canopy of green, where they settle in the mist hanging there after rainfall. How those living branches, maple, cottonwood, western birch, draw the light, make intricate patterns to shape an arboreal lexicon. You might notice a kind of thirst.
The power of the internet.
Amazing. Yeah.
Okay, let's hope we can get Calvin back again. In the meantime, I'll walk slowly because if I invite somebody up to read from the room, Zoomland might suddenly become live again, and Calvin, poor thing, will suddenly start reading his poem in the middle of the next one. But in the meantime, yeah, let's ask Anne if she'd like to come up and do something for us, please.
Jag tänker läsa 2 dikter. Den första är från Krispiga kaskader 2019. Där jag fick första pris. Stränder. Vi sitter på stränder där björnbärsrevor växer. Där björkfrön landar och stenar slipats av sand. Barnet som ser myran på en filt. Cirrusmolnen mot det blå. Och när kråkan spanar från en tall. Vi sitter på stränder där slagen pågick. Där enbuskar växer och dåtid är närmare än du tror. Här, världen och hela universum. Någon gör en utdikning av en åker. Värmeverkets rök på andra sidan sundet. 30 flygplan passerar per dygn. Jag samlar kapsyler i en burk och bär hem mjölken i kasse av tyg. Vi sitter alla på olika stränder. Allt inkluderat med koder och stenar eller sand. Och kråkan sitter kvar och spanar från tall. Domino. Andedräkten ständigt sökande. Trädens hjärtslag och hjortronmyror. Från byar och inland längs landsvägar kom vi till aldrig sedda städer. Nätter som kröker sig i fosterställning. Och hjärnor som irrar för att rättfärdiga brister. Besvärjelser som genomsyrar våra automatiserade kroppar. 1 steg fram och 10 tillbaka. Aortan slingrande längs golv och ödsliga trapphus. Lampor som lyser efter alla dina rum och försök att få fatt i. Andedräkten ständigt sökande. Trädens hjärtslag och jordtromlyr. Smaken av zink. Slagborrade väggar. Skrik som stannar mellan lager av tapeter. Alla synvillor. Sånt som inte räknas. Utanförskap är också en tillhörighet. Nu när jag ser lyser det fortfarande. Tack.
Thank you, Anne, for such strong words, but delivered so lightly. So much power in such a a gentle voice. It's a beautiful reading voice. Tack så mycket. Okay, let's try. I'm getting a bit scared now, but I'm going to try India and ask Pankuri, who was here with us on Thursday night. Well, she wasn't actually here. She was on Zoom once again at the international stage. But hopefully Pankuri is with us this evening and can unmute and read us a poem.
Thank you so very much, dear Dominic. Really an honor and privilege to be here again. And please accept my apologies for the video turned off. It's just some signal situation besides other things, my dog situation. I'm going to read a poem on an Indian festival that's coming up. And the title of the poem is The Folk Tradition of Sun Worship. Pink-dyed golden magic spreads its wings as music. Blessings we seek, O eternal form of light, warmth and energy, the worshipping of the sun god, standing in waters, knee-deep, flowing preferably. Customized today in a tiny little water body, an imitative pond in gardens of people's homes, or on rooftops, old, huge ponds, all filled up in this town of ancient glory where once Tagore had enjoyed a boat ride. Rivers dried up when not flooded and flooded any day with people. Worshippers callously leaving things behind and water doesn't digest all leftovers. Land reclamation has taken away the true meaning of this folk tradition. Palms stretched, holy rays, healing power, skin cleansed and more. For whoever does it, and someone does it from each family, for each family, fasting for almost 4 days, certainly giving up more than 8 meals, breakfast included, food regimentation, fruit and other prescription. Special is the offering made to the Lord, an ancient tradition from when the days were cold, the grandest festival in eastern parts, without any idol, nature worshipping, pure and pristine. As the sun changes its direction, earth readies to rotate, orbit clear, stars above, planets around, peoples gathering in awe and honor, worshipping celebration for the good of people. May light find a new path. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Stephen. It's so good to see you and your wife.
Well, yes, it's so good not to see you too, Pankuri, but I do appreciate your turning the camera off. Maybe it's something, if Calvin gets back into the room, we can recommend to him also, because the video does steal an awful lot of bandwidth. We can keep the audio if somebody turns their camera off. It echoes of Steve's poem as well, actually, Pankuri, the idea of this juxtaposition of the traditional nature and the technological, and how we look forward. But yes, that light is always there. Okay, let's come back into the room and let's get Jesper up here. Come on, bro.
Jag tänkte läsa en dikt som heter Johnny Pep. And there's like 1 or 2 English words in it somewhere.
Yes.
Sorry. Jag ska ligga under en julgran tills ni fattar att jag är en gåva. Jag ska vira in mig själv i presentsnöre och knacka på din dörr. Jag vill skriva en dikt så sorglig att ni gråter, så rolig att ni skrattar, med så mycket värme och igenkänningsfaktor att när ni går hem som helt ompysslade, fast det är jag som snackar, känns som jag som stod och lyssnade på er. Så sorgligt att ni gråter, så roligt att ni skrattar med mig, inte åt mig. Och så smart att alla bara fattar. Något de egentligen redan visste djupt inom sig själva. Men bara behövde någon annan höra säga. En dikt som precis som jag kommer bra överens med precis alla. Det finns bara en sak jag inte pallar. Det är när snubbar ska köra snabbare än vägskyltar. Och sen dessutom har fucking mage och klaga när de torskar. Vadå, det står ju fan där. Och när de ska sitta och prata om vart det sitter någon fartkamera. Du vet, snacka snuten hit och dit som en riktig gangster. Men bakom ratten bara. Annars är han vän av ordning. Thug life i trafiken. Gömd i bilen, vilken hårding. Mannen. Jag knullar dig. Ditt bilprat. Och din kamera. Jag svär på satan att jag skiter i. Jag ska inte ha någon sportbil. Jag tänker aldrig ta körkort. Jag och mina fötter kan gå vart vi vill genom mitt Norrköping. Till exempel till Lindevägen för att köpa chips. Eller till 3 spårvagnshållplats. Vips är klocket. Det räcker gott och väl. Åk till Ullared och köp en själ. Lämna mig i fred. Låt mig rädda världen på mitt sätt. Men jag äter en chokladmuffins med hjärtströssel. Jag är superhjälten. Jeppe Rymden. En sak till jag aldrig fattat. Det är det här med folk. Du vet, de vänder kappan efter vinden. För jag vände vinden efter kappan, motherfucker. Redan 1995 stod jag på scen som småstjärnorna, som rednecks i småstjärnorna. Redan sedan dess jag vet att jag är något speciellt. Jag firade nya året 10 år sedan jag tänkte. Jag döpte en spindel i mitt badrum till Eddie. Nu hade jag ett husdjur. Tills Eddie dog i duschen. En gång var jag jättekär i en tjej som sa jag vill ha barn med dig. Jag sa jag vill ha barn med dig, så vi sa vi skulle ha barn tillsammans. Så vi knarkade sönder oss själva istället. En gång i mellanstadiet, jag vann maskeraden på disco i Västra Husbyskolans matsal. Utklädd till utomjording. Det var bara det att jag var inte utklädd. Jag väntade och väntade på skeppet. Ljusstrålen som skulle ta mig hem. Nu är jag 34. Jag väntar fortfarande. För att fördriva tiden så har jag blivit mästare på radioaktiva ordvitsar. Poesi, punchlines. Jag ser mig själv lite som ortens gamla. Men undrar ibland. Vad är meningen? Varför ens skriva när det är för lätt? Typ som lämna mig fred, jävla kreativitet. Låt mig bara sitta som en potatis här i soffan och kasta potatis friterad räfflad för att fånga i munnen fastän ingen kollar. För jag är proffs. Vad jag än gör. Chipsfettet glänser rikt på mina händer att glänsa i skenet från tv-skärmen. Du ser vad jag gör. Kan inte låta bli att glänsa. Men som sagt, jag undrar ibland. Vad är meningen? Varför ens? Fuck att skriva politiska texter om klassamhället. Ärligt talat, jag testade. Och det funkar inte. Allting suger ju fortfarande. Och jag är nog tröttare på mig själv. Så fuck mig och mina självmordstankar. Vem har sagt att poeter måste vara så jävla ledsna? Är det provision på dikter om depression? Eller vad då? Hallå, ursäkta. Har det gått fel? Du ska ju gå i terapi. Men det här, det är ju en publik. Nej tack. Been there, done that. Nu är jag superhjälten Johnny Pepp. Och från och med nu ska jag bara skriva... Ja, ska jag skriva om det? Glada dikter om bakelser. Se främlingar lite för länge i ögonen och säga hej, hur är det med dig? Det var länge sedan jag såg någon som såg lika lite spännande ut som dig. Men det gör inget. För det är okej att vara tråkig. Och om du ändå ska må dåligt. Snälla sluta säg må dåligt. Säg jag mår fruktansvärt. Säg efter mig. Jag mår fruktansvärt. Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Jag mår fruktansvärt.
Det är tråkigt det här. Tack.
This is the sort of dynamic performance we would expected of Jesper. I think I recognize the English words in your performance. I'm not sure that there'd be any words I ever use though. But tack så mycket. I couldn't think of a better way actually to close the first set. It's about time I got a cigarette. So let's take a 10-minute break, charge your glasses, get another beer in, and we will be back 10 minutes sharp. I'm going to check the time on the clock. And you guys out there in Zoom land, I'm sorry I was so mean to you before. We're going to turn the volume down on the sound desk now. So you guys, please feel free to unmute and chat with each other.
Yeah. Hey, Antonio! Antonio! Oh, yeah.
Anna, are you going to read? No, you sure? Okay. Anybody else?
You okay, Bar?
Can you hear me, Steve?
Oh, hang on. Hang on, Bar. Yes, I can hear you, Antonio. How are you?
I am well. I am well. It's good to see you, my friend. What's up?
And you? Yes, I. In the next poem pints in our local, I'm going to be giving a shredder poem.
Well, looking forward to it. I'm sorry I miss many of these meetings. You know.
Yeah.
I am forgetful. You know. I never remember when they're on. It's of the time difference. I'm always off. You know. It's like 6 hours, and it always throws me off. But today I managed.
Hey, that's one good thing, anyway. You managed it today. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I will be reading, I guess, one text in a little while, I hope.
Yeah. And my shredder poem, the next shredder poem it's all going to be about the 1%. And the 1% is about those billionaires and those powerful people who don't care shit about this planet.
Well, you know, the dirty wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say here that it's such and I will speak so slowly so the computerized text can understand what I am saying.
Okay.
Linguistically, it's very beautiful to watch people, to hear the tonality, to hear the expression, and yet to have a different text, an alternative text below on the screen and it's quite fantastical. Do you hear me?
We do. I do.
Hey. It's really beautiful. It's strange, it's complicated, but then language, expression, and the existence of the human spirits is complicated. And I'm really enjoying the fact that I can't understand a fucking word anybody says. But
I understood that. Yeah. Louise understood.
I sent it.
That's half the beauty.
The beauty.
Well, sometimes it's
speak slowly.
Sometimes you get a little bit of wave of what it should be, but most of it is just it passes you by. Like
it's like if I spoke Welsh on there now, which I should have done tonight.
Yeah.
Don't fucking do it.
Yeah. I mean, when I do my Greek poems, for instance, I always do the English one after, or I do the English one before, so that people can imagine or listen to both rhythms, because I'm trying to keep the rhythm in both languages, but without any translation, I'm lost as well.
I think that,
but you cannot because the text below, there is your head, then there is the text below, and then there is your voice, and these three things, they make no sense. They make no sense. But we enjoy it.
I don't have it. I don't have it. Oh, Emily is trying something.
Yeah, I'm just experimenting with green screen to change my top, because anything green gets made invisible.
Ah, yeah.
I think that perhaps the problem is that people speak with the expectancy that they will be understood.
This is bullshit. No one is ever understood.
That's what I'm thinking. But mostly, mostly I'm talking to myself. So
this is so, Antonio. This is so of poetry. We are only speaking internally always, and that's why we all love each other as poets.
I guess.
Antonio, you see bars from Liverpool, that's a different planet altogether.
Oh, fuck off, Steve.
I wanted to ask, is the Welsh language impossibly hard to learn as an adult?
No, it's a very ignoramus language, but if you're a Scouser, you have kindness for it.
Really?
Well, I mean, Welsh...
no, it's deep. It's deep.
Yeah, Welsh is a very feminine language, Antonio.
Is it?
Yes.
What makes it so?
I think it's all the double L's, and that we've got. I think we've got about 29 letters in the alphabet. I think in Wales.
Okay.
And like church in the word church. Where you pray, church. Yeah. Church in our language is san. So you say a double L is san. So when a woman says san, it comes out very feminine, even more feminine. So it's the double L's and we say that's the feminine part.
I see.
Yeah. Hang on a minute, Steve. Hang on. If you go back into the Fairthorpe language, the original runic language, and Anglo-Saxon, sun, as in the big round blob in the sky that heats us all or burns us all. Yeah. There's that. And when the Anglo-Saxons and the Viking, when this tiny shitty little island was invaded, the words son and son, S-O-N and S-U-N, the only difference was when it was son, my son, they put a line across the hieroglyphic kind of thing. They put a line across the top to differentiate between male son and son big ball in the sky. Language is complicated. It's so complicated, but really good. I love Welsh's vernacular as far as I understand its pronunciation. It reads as it is spoken, and that's what's important. And it's very colloquial. It's very local. It's a very local, beautiful, and probably the most pure and ancient language on the British Isles, in the British Isles, completely and truly.
Well, I know the Welsh, kind of, because if you're Scotland and, the Irish speak Irish, they're Gaelic, the Scottish and the Irish, and I think it's the...
Yeah, Gaelic and Pictish.
Yeah, but the Welsh are Brythonic.
Yes.
The Welsh are Brythonic. See,
yes.
the Romans, yeah, sorry, go on, Antonio.
I have to make my way over there and check it out. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
You should.
I will.
Antonio, you should come to Carmarthen, because you will hear incongruous language and see many, many tattoos, and you will like it.
Okay. That sounds like an irresistible combination to me.
Come, puppy, come, puppy.
Yeah, you're a tease, you are, Bar.
I'm not. I'm just a horrible scouser.
No, the Welsh. See them when the Romans came to Wales. They invaded, but they didn't conquer us. They did not conquer Wales at all. They invaded, but they invaded, but they didn't conquer Wales. No, this is what people get mixed up with. They invaded. They came onto the island.
Aha, we shut you up again. I know, we're so cruel. It's wonderful control. Heather is just for the first time learning this control that you can make everybody in the world go silent. I heard Xanthi talking about coming to Carmarthen to view tattoos. It's some very strange conversations you pick up on when you're listening to Zoom. But I'd like to ask Xanthi to unmute herself now and talk not about Carmarthen tattoos, but to give us one of her poems, please.
Hello. So I'm going to share with you tonight a poem which was just published in America in the anthology which is called Odyssey. And it's the poem about Mediterranean waves. So here it goes. 3 blue poets fill our life. One singing the blue from the sky, the other the waves of the sea, and the third whispers the wisdom of the wind. No matter to which shores the poem takes us, with which clouds we want to travel, with the wave of a blue scarf or the white sail of a boat, the wind of a plane, there is always the wisdom of the wind to carry us. To reach the shores of dreams with flowers, pebbles, and seashells as treasures. The nights we talked at blue tables with friends or on the phone miles away, listening to the tide. The fun we shared, traveling in the rental car without lights on an island looking to avoid a monastery and ending up spending the day there in the arms of a saint, bringing with us healing oils and sacred water. The paintings we discovered in the small museum, in our faces on the street corners, looking down to the sea. Feeding a foreign hungry artist at a little coffee shop by the seaside. We didn't exchange letters and alphabets like our ancestors, didn't care if the numbers were Arabic or Greek, didn't even try to find common ground because 3 blue poets, a painter and a musician, filled our life with the waves of the Mediterranean, hoping to make some sense today. Thank you very much. It's an honor and a great privilege to be with you here tonight in Sweden with a click of a button and with the magic of the internet.
It truly is magic when it works, Anthony. It's not so magical in Canada at the moment. Calvin hasn't made his way back in. I hope he does. But thank you for painting those beautiful images and taking us on your road trip with you. We enjoyed. I think I'm going to stay on Zoomland for one more reader and ask Emily if she'd like to unmute and do something for us, please.
Hi, everybody. Hej och tack för att lyssnade, which I hope means hi and thank you for listening. But if I've accidentally asked anybody to marry them, I will still honor that proposal. This piece is for all our stage dreamers out there. It's called Imagination. It's written about my best friend, Joya, and her friends, lion, elephant, baboon, and giraffe. Mark Twain said, reality can be beaten with enough imagination. He also said, I've had the most amazing adventures, and some of them have even been real. Joya and Emily, giraffe, lion, elephant, and baboon, climbed inside the giant wicker basket of their glamorous turquoise, pear-dropped, intrepid explorer balloon. With ample provisions of maps and compasses, courage, ropes, golf clubs, lilos, and a surf-fit supply of rainbow macaroons, set sail on the stroke of noon, vested, ideally, with a fair wind, Godspeed, for the brighter side of the moon. They cut the tether, took to the air and floated and sailed, ascended and soared. Baboon grunted with excitement as giraffe giggled, elephant bugled, and lion roared. Emily kept watch as Joya steered the rocketing balloon. Joya did a great job as pretty soon they'd gone stratospheric, mesospheric, thermospheric, exospheric, and way, way beyond the Kármán line, already over halfway to their day trip destination, which was looking invitingly resplendent, all silvery and divine. Anyone peckish, asked Lion. I am, said excited Elephant. Me too, giggled giggly Giraffe. Me three, added bubbly Baboon. So they opened up their first packet and each had a nibble on a rainbow macaroon, or two, or three, or four, or more. Sustenance aplenty. Time flew as they continued moonward to soar. As the moon loomed large, they spotted a great place to land. Over there's perfect, said Joya. It's flat and clear with a soft texture, not unlike sand. And then after a slight bump, 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 ooh, came to a stop. Aye, aye, skipper, bugled Elephant. That's a grand spot, I must say. Out we all pop. Joya inquired, can I go first? That is, if you all don't mind. And with that, as her paws touched the silvery sandy surface, she philosophically chimed, this is one small step for a kind animal, one giant step for animal kind. Excitedly, they picnicked on the moon, feasting on rainbow macaroons all afternoon, had a round of golf or two or three, floated on their lilos on the sea of tranquility, planted a yellow flag embroidered with a Mark Twain quotation stitched large in bright maroon, and then, truly contented, climbed back inside the basket of their glamorous turquoise pear-dropped intrepid explorer balloon. Weigh anchor, Joya barked. It's about 20 kilos, giggled giggly Giraffe. Lion, Elephant, Emily, and Joya all started to laugh, for Giraffe was famed for her corny puns, elegant long leg, and lovably daft. Hold fast and weigh anchor. Wait, where to next? Joya inquired of her adventurous crew about to depart from the moon. Mars, Venus, Saturn. I hear it's very nice this time of year on the south side of Neptune. Maybe next week, replied Baboon. Yes, shall we all head back to Earth? Giggled Giggly Giraffe. Good idea, Lion purred as Emily and Elephant also concurred. Okay, right, now weigh anchor, Joya barked. It's still about 20 kilos, giggled Daft Giraffe. As Elephant, Lion and Emily all laughed, Joya beamed a grin, exclaiming, that joke will never wear thin. And with that, the basket's base decoupled from the silvery moon. Goodbye, we'll be back soon, gestured Baboon as he offered everybody another rainbow macaroon. The moon grew distant, the earth grew nearer. With each passing mile, its beauty becoming clearer. The jungle, the forest, the desert, the sea, the river, the mountain, and OMG, is that Swiss Valley? Bump, 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 then aloud, we touchdown for our heroes at Mission HQ, Clonethley. As our heroes disembarked their faithful craft to a ticker-tape parade as they signed many a autograph. So, what was it like, Captain Joya? Asked ace interviewer Dominic, live on Clonethley TV. Amazing, replied Joya, especially having macaroons for afternoon tea. Then all necks craned heavenward, angled toward the yellow flag they'd planted in their lunar day trip location, emblazoned on which, in large maroon stitching, was Mark Twain's wise inspiration. Joya paused, pondered, reflected, about to reveal. Dominic, she opined, I've had the most amazing adventures, and some of them have even been real. Thank you.
Can you ask if she has a YouTube channel?
Oh, we're getting requests here, Emily, as to whether you have a YouTube channel. Are you putting stuff out on podcasts, or will you?
No, I don't usually, but I'm happy for you to give out my email address if anyone's interested. I just like to think everything's for the moment.
There we go. There we go. We've had some stuff for the moment tonight. We've also had lots and lots of cuddly toys. You wouldn't believe, Emily. Honestly, we had, yeah, we had a punk cuddly toy revolution, the soft revolution of punk earlier on, where we were challenging barriers and norms. And so I'm sure your three guys who went in their own particularly beautiful pea green boat to the moon would have enjoyed. And it's nice to hear their perspective on the world. Thank you, Emily. I'm going to try one more time to go to Puerto Rico. For the last time, absolutely the last time. Antonio Salvador, are you there? Then we will find something even better in Peter Nieberg.
I'm sorry, I have to read this in Swedish, actually. It's a poem about God and a bunch of cows. And after a while there comes a bull. You know, sometimes you need to sex up your poems a bit. But it's safe. In the end, there's a cloud too. So now I just read it in Swedish. Vid kohagen satt jag och läste om Gud. Den första och den andra och den tredje guden. Demonen i öknen som använde människorna som människorna använde får. Korna glodde på mig över ett elektriskt stängsel. Bara i boken fanns tjurar och de besteg med stor kraft allt som kom med deras väg. Maktsystemet förundrade mig. En mörk ko gick fram till stängslet. fick en stöt och backade. Den blängde länge, men fogade sig. Det doftade mocka av gräs och sjö. När jag reste mig upp drog ett moln genom mitt skallben. Jag tog ett steg åt sidan innan balansen återupprättades. Tack.
Thank you, Peter. Surrealism seems to be the order of the day as we move into the second set. So I'd like to ask my friend Bar in Wales, are you going to talk to us of clouds and cows? Are you there, Bar? No, we're losing these people. James McKenna, would you like to unmute yourself and read something for us, please?
Oh my goodness, I wasn't prepared, but let me just prepare. Hang on.
Prepare yourself. Very, very
okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. Right, here we go. And this is in English. Just bear with me. Okay. It's okay, this one is called The Last Voyage. My soul flew across a sea of swirling emotions, a new world before me, the old one behind. I recognized the FDR gasping for breath as I took in the majesty of the Manhattan skyline. Beneath my wings, Central Park, flavored by the sights, sounds, and smells of Christmas Eve. I, the dreamliner, circled for a place to land and the chance to embody myself in the world's capital. But I was also in the world of my ancestors, in the womb of great Queen Mary, her steam-powered beauty, swimming into the arms of America. I came round. I was dazed. The thunderous roar of the ocean beneath distracted me from my pain. I could barely feel my frozen hands and worse, my legs. Those same legs that had burst football nets and had known a lover's embrace. I looked up mournfully into the Milky Way and imagined being released from my agony and carried up into the cosmos. The only sensations left to me, the taste of pork salmon catch and the aromatic aftershock from a hot toddy. The winter liquor warmed and flavored my declining breaths. I regarded my body in its pathetic malaise and sobbed myself senseless, my tears falling into the cavernous, thundering abyss. The bitter Atlantic air was punctuated by Emily's night terrors. "Daddy, Daddy," she shouted. I lifted my eyes up to the heavens. "Emily," I cried, "I'm down here." "Daddy, Daddy, can you hear me?" Emily's screams grew in despair. "Emily, yes, I can hear you. I'm down here." "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" But to my horror, Emily's shouts grew weaker, and with them my remaining fragments of hope disappeared into the night, and my own shouts drowned by an angry sea. I was trapped, but also held in the cold embrace of Polna Behest, the serpent's lair on Europe's Celtic fringe. This was the space from which I pondered my precarious existence. My spirit soared into the heavens, and I woke up in the arms of my beloved parents, their loving smile washing over me like a fresh Atlantic swell. I looked down at my body, my earthly temple resting serenely in cosmic sand, and my children's prayers floated up into heaven, and etched into the sand, my beautiful girls had written, "Look after our place in heaven, Daddy. We love you to the moon and back." And that's it.
Well, it seems that people in the UK have been suffering some sort of travel imaginative dreams from their lockdown experience. A very different journey, but a very imaginative journey. Very similar to Emily's, but very different in its concept. And I just love the idea of a dreamliner, James. I love that concept. So thank you for sharing it with us. You got prepared very, very quickly, I'm glad to say. I'm going to come back into the room in Tronos and ask Siri if she'd like to come and read something for us, please.
She had to leave.
Oh, no. I wish I put her on early. I'm sorry. Okay, then I'm going to ask Camilla to come and read something for us, please.
Oh.
Yeah, no, not me though. Yeah.
Oh, this way?
Yeah.
Sorry, I did.
So I will read it in Swedish. Jag läser nog 2, tror jag. Den första heter Drömdivisionen. Och när jag skrev den här så hade jag precis läst Aspens dröm. Och det behöver jag nästan inte säga när ni hör det. Mätarlarven knaprar lydigt upp och ner genom högar. Bokstav för bokstav berättar om alla skikt. En annan dimension. 4 gånger blir jag skjuten. Inte död. Mätarlarven slickar mina sår. Ger sig ut på ett lillfinger. Ser stjärnor i mörkret. Myser. Vänder och kryper. Långt in i min hjärna. Och så har vi ett tungt sommarminne från Liseberg. Den heter Regn på Liseberg. Tunga byster. Tunga hjärtan. Tunga läppar. Injicerade. Tungor naturligtvis. Skrik, yrsel. Tunga hjärnor. Skrik, förtjusning. Tillsammans, visa upp. Tillsammans skrika. Tillsammans nästan nakna i regnet. Men alltid ensam. Som papporna. I barerna. Tunga ölen. Tro inte något annat. Tunga livet. Tack.
Thank you, Camilla. I think possibly from the outside, it may have looked as though the festival this year had rather a gender bias towards male poets. So I'm really pleased, Camilla, that you have added your voice to the other diverse female voices that we've heard this evening. And hopefully, as we get more to the grassroots of poetry and what this event is about, that we hear all of those voices. And I'm going to stick with a female voice now. I'm going to come back into the room, ask somebody to read for us. And I'm going to give fair warning, as I did to Hedda, to my other working colleague this evening, who is running around our festival photographer, so that after Linda has come and read, then you can put your camera down and come and address the microphone with it. So Linda, please.
And there it was, the stress building up, coming in waves, nearly drowning you, making it harder to breathe. Try to take a deep breath again anyway. Yet it does overwhelm you yet again. Breathe, you will be okay. Just like that, you just need to breathe. All she does is to wait for that call. Try to take a deep breath and try to do something else. The anxiety builds, tries to drown her. Take a deep breath, you can do this. It's just taking some time. Take a deep breath, you can do this. Things will be okay. Your anxiety won't define who you are.
Thank you, Linda. Just take a breath and don't allow society to define who you are. Again, very much about the messages that we were trying to share with the world this afternoon in our Pride Parade. Okay, I think I may have invited this poem. I'm looking at an English language translation for the first time in my life, which I will be sharing after Milica has read in Serbian.
Zašto je čutala? Količina mizoginije u društvu koja padne na žrtvu, koja progovori o zlostavljanju i pritom je dodatno otežava prevladavanje traume. Zašto je čutala? Trebalo je vremena da izgradi sebe iznutra, to sliku koja se izlomila, samopouzdanje, odgovornost, stid, krivica. Zašto je čutala? Mogla je biti obeležena i odbačena dok još uvijek nosi neizlečenu traumu sa sobom i da te nove ožiljke doda tom velikom, dok ne postane neizdržljivo. Zašto je čutao? Zbog nedostatka empatije cijelog društva, zbog nedostatka senzibilnosti za žrtvu nasilja, zbog duboko korenjenog patrijarhata. Zašto je čutala? Zato što nije bila dobra devojčica, žena. Koga je to sve izneverila? Kako je to vaspitana? Zašto je čutala? Zato što je to sama izazivala, zato što je to sama tražila, zato što nije svetica već trolja. Zašto je čutala? Zato što mi kao društvo nismo dovoljno zreli da prihvatimo razmjene njene traume, da razumemo i saosjećamo sa njom, da joj pomognemo da ih izleči i preovladava. Zato je čutala. Nije našla tačku za apsolutno poverenja, jer sredina za nju nije bila sigurna. Zato je čutala. Nije htjela da povedi one koje je voljela, jer misli da ih je izneverila. Zato je čutala. Što je u njoj bila provalija, u koju je mogla upasti, ali se grčevito držala. Za ivice svoga bića, jer još jedan pogrešan udarac ili korak i potonuće. Zato je čutala. I kada se osjetila sigurno mi iskoračala, iako se svijet oko nje nije promenio, ona i dalje upr prstom u nju i pitaju se, zašto je čutala?
Those of you who've experienced Mila's slam poetry before will know the absolute pace of it. I'm so pleased that I don't have to read at that pace this evening. Why was she silent? The amount of misogyny in a society which falls on a victim who speaks about abusing and thus makes overcoming her trauma even harder. Why was she silent? It took a lot of time to build inside herself that image which was shattered: responsibility, guilt, shame. Why was she silent? She could be marked and ostracized while she was carrying and healed trauma in herself, adding new scars to those big ones until it becomes unbearable. Why was she silent? Because of the lack of empathy in the whole of society, because of the lack of sensibility for the victims of violence, because of the deep-rooted patriarchy. Why was she silent? Because she wasn't a good girl, a good woman. Who was she letting down? How was she brought up? Why was she silent? Because she was provoking it, because she had asked for it, because she wasn't a saint but a slut. Why was she silent? Because we as a society are not enough maturity to accept the scale of her trauma, to understand and to empathize with her, to help her heal it and overcome it. That's why she was silent. She didn't find a spot of absolute trust because the environment wasn't enough to be secure for her. That's why she was silent. She wouldn't hurt the one she loved because she thought that she'd let them down. That's why she was silent. Because inside of her was an abyss into which she could fall, but she held on convulsively to the edges of her being. One wrong step more or punch, and she will sink. That's why she was silent. And when she felt secure enough to step out of the light, although the world around her hadn't changed, they still point a finger at her, asking, why was she silent? Tack så mycket, Nina. Okay, I'm going to go back to Wales, not to a Welsh woman, but to a Scouser. Bar, are you there? Please unmute. I've seen your face. No? Okay, then, as we move towards the end of the evening, as I started with two Magnuses, both men called Magnus, I'm going to end with two Louises, two women called Louise. I'm going to go to Wales and ask Louise Trahal to unmute herself, please.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. Straight to the poem, Carlos, not too much talking. Womb. My womb incinerated within hospital building. No babies carried or born. Cancer and surgery, not the main concern. People and kindness matter more. Voices together, a consoling caress, supporting each other. Life's adversities, inevitably a visitor to us all. Basic caring offers healing, our scars needing to be turned into stars. We need uplifting from bleakness and darkness. Us being stars lights the way, brightness to be shared. Sometimes our lights are dim or too far away to be seen. Taking turns, sharing and shining. Do not forget when our light is bright, that flames in an instant easily extinguished. Common sense needed, more than rocket science. Astronauts sent to the moon. This rocket science feeds not humanity's Earth mission. This foolish excess, similar to drowning in stagnant waters so putrid. Louder gets our powerful cries, demanding to be heard, shouting, no, 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 stop. End this needless injuring of our souls. Do you remember being listened to when someone else's choice, genuineness reflected from attentive eyes, the back of your hand touched or compassionately held, a privileged patient wait when wanting to hear the answer to the question asking, how are you today? If this memory lives within your soul, you know the significance of good daily actions. This listening shows us that we truly matter. This is real belonging and connection, a must for well-being. People power in togetherness, this reducing the risk of dilution. Being heard is so rich. maybe with warm tea cupped tenderly within hands, tea from a quality china cup or a practical mug, or a gift from someone. The point being, if not your cup of choice or tea brand preference, but still knowing how special this chance to be, meaningful and beautiful, the exchanging of our gifts, womb, a palace for conception, a loving holding place for precious life to be born, womb, cancer, and incinerator, indeed, strong words. My language usage possibly touches in ways lacking ease for you. Fear not or be repulsed if a strong vision created. Ease away discomfort, despite acknowledging my anatomical womb burnt and no more a physical form. Symbolic mother not robbed, still carrying within womb vision ongoing life gifts, ready to be delivered. Slushy words, not the case. Limp offerings, not my style. Nauseating, sanctimonious words, spews not from my mouth. Kindness needs wisdom, with a strong spine, standing tall. Sharp teeth needed for biting, if called for. My message, a practical one, calling out, back to basics, caring more with continuity, actions leading to success, depth in knowing how the concept of less than creates a more than reality, witnessing simplicity, displaying profoundness, my words offered and shared, needing no validation, no trapping conclusions, as life is not fixed in concrete, trusting your words, holding personal value, also enriching others. Your words matter, as mine do too. Life and people not perfect. Good is adequate, met with gratitude. A request I make for permission to be human, listening more. So much learning gained through silence. Enough talkers, but lack of listeners. Gracefully wearing life as a loose garment, dancing with anticipation, ready for the next tight fit, the pain of labor. From conception, new lives to be born and celebrated. Diolch, thank you. Woo!
My days. Do you know, Louise, it sounded as though you could understand Serbian and you listened to Milica, and while I was reading the English translation, you wrote that poem. It was just an absolute continuation of the positivity and the future that there could be. Thank you so much. Before I ask Louise to come up, we do have Bar back in the room, I believe. So just like Antonio for the last time. Bar, can you unmute and perform for us, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
You can? Ah, my head. Do you know what? Can I just say something? And I know that you're all, I'm going to speak slowly because you've all got text underneath. That was actually really scary for me. My laptop just went out, everything just disappeared, and I realized how dependent I have become my freedom with my international people and friends and this portal. And without it, good God. So I've just had a very terrifying moment, but you know what? I'm just going to read all of my shite to you. So I'm going to try and stick within my 3 minutes, my three, oh, can I use those fingers? The ones with the drawn on, 3 minutes. And right, one is, by the way, for our internet, I'm speaking slowly for the text, our international friends, I am the Scouse woman from North Wales that lives in South Wales that has also lived in other places. That's me. This was written for a film for the Tranus Festival. So I'll read it first. I am not going to tell you what the film is because you'll have to go and watch all of the films and you have to work it out. And then I'll read another one, which I actually wrote today. And that's a secret. So, okay. Am I still alive? Not
yeah,
somebody. Yay! Okay, so this is Urban Vessel, which is written for one of the films, which I actually think is the most beautiful film. This person that made this film was gorgeous. So it's called Urban Vessel. Only sound imbues her gaze, the curl of a corner of a mother's weave, the oily footfall of a mechanical father's tread. She peeps out into the dark, hears the street flooding, disembarks from a domestic dock, releases her fearful fingers and dives into the dawn, into the depths, permeates and simmers, bubbles and putters, suitably like a brook navigating the Nald. She is steeped in time now, caught in the peripheral heartbeat, embraced by a gulp of a pause, the moment when nothing happens, not even the grinding of a cog in time can stop this insular pulse, beat, this throb of circumstance. And later, she blinks, slowly, coughs out a history, the places she thought she had inhabited, microcosmic words where she could ignore everything, and the simple palm swipe of condensation, a refractory view, could transcend the tiny capsules of life and time that offered only this niche for her, here, now, as she set sail. Thank you. That's number one. Okay, and this is like, I wrote this today because I was staring out of a window and I was pondering my own insanity. And I called it, When Pupils Have Light. She puts one hand and then the other in front of her face, palms forward, an exposed belly. It is so very dangerous. Her knuckles press in on either side of her nose, almost painfully to the point of sneezing. Expulsion of what? Irritation, perhaps? Hiding? Expression? Slowly, she makes a triangle of view, thumbs beneath nostrils with moisture and hairs, and she remembers briefly it is some kind of sun salutation. She deeply does not give a shit and continues anyway. She makes many shapes, a kaleidoscope of the somatic, a synaptic whoosh of what is happening, a place she hears inside with no words that can be formed. but the other view, the peripheral, the shadow echoes, the camera lucidia, the refractions of the smudged knowing. If she makes a hand cone, blinkers herself completely, she will simply stare and nothing happens. There will be nowhere to go, no thoughts beyond what is allowed, no cerebral searching. It is infinitely boring. She takes off her hand mask, her thought cape, cloaks herself in just what she likes, sees her real thoughts. They manifest beyond her pupils, and she prays they are fixed and dilated. Knows this way they are letting in the uppermost light, the only place where nothing is actually fixed and cemented at all. That view where everything is discombobulated and makes perfect sense. That's it, I'm gone.
It's perfect symmetry to hear two poems tonight in the closing night of the festival that are ekphrastic poems written for films that featured in the film festival at the beginning of the week. And just some sad news for you, actually. I did enable the subtitles, so anybody who wishes to use them can do so, but we chose to disable them on the big screen here. So you've been reading really, really slowly for people who are not seeing your subtitles anyway. But we love hearing your voice. Okay, I'm back in the room to ask our own Louise Halverson, Louise Pink, to come and close the night.
A few people have mentioned the wind tonight, and I'm gonna do a translation of a Swedish poem that I did last night. And I need your help. I need you to be the wind. Where is the wind when it's not windy? Where is the wind? Where is the wind? Where is the wind when it's not windy? Does it hide behind rocks or hide behind trees? Or is it like me, a feminist that doesn't always have the energy to open her mouth? A feminist that lies on the sofa licking a chocolate bar while starvation comes to the beggar outside the supermarket. Where is the wind when it's not windy? Where is the wind? Where is the wind? Where is the wind when it's not windy? Does it hide behind closed doors, waiting to blow up the good atmosphere? Tranos Fringe.
Thank you, Louise, for bringing everybody into the poem, bringing everybody together for our final performance. This is the end of Pilsnerpoesi for tonight. This is the end of the 2021 Tranos Fringe. So thank you to everybody who contributed. All you on Zoom land who contributed. It's the diversity of your voices. It's your passion that stops poetry just being something that is in dusty books, put on dusty shelves by dusty men in dusty libraries next to Latin textbooks. We need to keep it alive. You do that. Thank you to everyone involved with the Tranos Fringe.
Take care.
Our festival director, Colin McKiernan, everybody at Cultivera, Hannah, Karin, Frank, Yoka, to the team here, to our photographer, Melitza, to Hedda, for all the work they've done to keep things going. And of course, to you, because you get me every time. You kill me. Tranos, every year, you bring more and more to the world. Well done. Thank you. From Tranos at the Fringe, Nostar, good night.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, bye. That was great.
That was great. Yeah. Love the coming. Bye.